Good evening, good evening.
Good evening, how are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm really good. You just made it by the skin of my teeth. I think you did as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was like seconds to go. I saw the countdown when I joined. That's how close
I
it
thought I
was.
better go live.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to be late, which I think was a couple of seconds late anyway. But thanks for joining us. I know it's kind of a bit of a toss-up tonight, isn't it? Are we going to watch the football? Or are we going to go and do reefing? And we decided to go reefing. So Steve is working late tonight. So he will be with us later on. And Ross is joining us, but he's been working late as well. So I'm not too sure what time he will join us. But both will be with us, I think, at some point. But there we go. Right, I'm just going to go through and say hello. So thank you. We've got 15 people join us. So thank you. Big night tonight in the football. So I thought the numbers would be down. But for those who have joined, thank you very, very much. Yeah, John sums it up. Even all a bit distracted tonight watching the football.
Do not blame you, John.
Absolutely.
I think most people will be on like split screen here, won't they? They'll be on the live stream on and the football on, which is understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, MK Reefer. Take us Reefer. Stu's Reefer. Or Stu's Reef, shall I say. UK M120. Good evening.
Good to see you.
Evening, Rigsy. And then we've got Reef Paul. Good evening to you. Chris Allen. I saw your picture. I just commented it actually in the last hour or so, I think it was. Your lovely jelly bean chalice that you picked up from Kraken. I think that you won it, didn't you, at Krakner? So not a bad prize, AJ.
That is a good prize. Yeah, I saw the prize draw because it was on Facebook, wasn't it? The prize draw, and I was like, whoever's won that jackpot prize, they've done really well there. Jelly bean chalice is beautiful, isn't it? It's really nice.
They are lovely. Yeah. So when you got your chalice, what did you do with it? Did you put it straight on the sandbed? I can't remember.
Yeah, I put it straight on the sandbed just to kind of acclimate it. And to be fair, that's where it stayed. I've never moved it up or they don't really need much light, do they?
No. I had a chalice once that was quite high up in the tank, and it just washed out. All the colours went from it, so I moved it back down.
Yeah.
And actually, it doesn't mind a little bit of shade. So actually, the lower light does help it. And I think it's the one coral that, regardless of whether it's on white or blue light, it pops regardless. The rainbow chalice. I think we said that before.
You need your blues and kind of your Orfet bars, all that sort of stuff for a lot of your your torches and stuff. Always look so much better. But a chalice, you could put it, in daylight, and it's just going to pop, isn't it, with the colour. They do look amazing. They do. They're one of my favourites. They are one of my favourites. I know it's your favourite, isn't it? A chalice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I love the chalices, but certainly the rainbows are my favourite. Mainly because with a torch, you know what you're getting. Then lovely, but they don't really tend to change colour much. They do a little bit, but for the rainbow, and Steve was saying, they completely morph. I mean, the rainbow girl has now lost all of its blue. It had blue, and now over the last 3 months, it's got no blue in it whatsoever. And it's got yellows and the other colours, and then in 2 or 3 months' time, the blues will come back, and some other colour will disappear. So it does morph from colours to colour, and that's what I like, certainly about those ones.
Yeah, so mine was predominantly red, and then it got some blue in it, and now I'm getting some yellows and greens, and that's what I'm really liking now. There's like a section that's going yellows and greens. That, like you say, it's kind of, they do change colour each. I don't know what triggers it. Is it nutrients? Is it light? It can't be the light, because I've had the same light setting, so it can't be light. So it might be nutrients.
Yeah, I don't know if it's nutrients or whether on a rainbow, just the way it is as it grows, they just maybe the colours are competing. I don't know. It could be nutrients. It could be then the minor elements, because you do have some minor elements that bring out different colours or stronger colours more than others. So it could be that. I'm not too sure, but they are fantastic in that respect. But Chris, I think you'll absolutely love it. You've got a gem of a piece there.
Has he got a spot for it? Where are you going to put it, Chris? Where's he going to put it?
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's see if, Chris, have you made any decisions as to where you're going to put it? And I'll just go through some of the other comments. Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Andrew. Reef boy.
Good to see you.
Evening, Reefer. Settled into my 7th shift for the night, made better by 2 hours of salty goodness. Well, welcome, and good for you. Thank you for tuning in.
I feel sorry for you, mate. 7 night shift in a row.
I know. Hi, Hayley. Good evening to you, Russell. The Cornish Reefer is with us. Hi, Cornish Reefer. AB Reef, Tony Marsh. Now, Tony, what's the 76 for, dare I ask?
I guess it's the year he's born, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Cool,
Hi, Errol.
Hi, Errol.
Chris is over the moon. Not surprised at all. Drippy Reef Geek is with us. I've needed this week. I've had reefing is cruel sometimes, but we go again. Right, so Drippy, what's happened? Put in the comments, dare I ask, what's gone on?
It sounds like he needs a Cobra meeting. That's what it sounds like.
Absolutely. Hi, Rich.
It is a brutal hobby, this is, isn't it?
It certainly can. Yeah.
It can kick you whilst you're down, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
So you was right, Jay, about Tony. Year he was born.
Good age, 40s.
Yeah.
Best years of your life, your 40s, aren't they, Paul? Can you remember yours?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I can. Thanks for that one. I'm not gonna rise.
We're all about the same age, aren't we? We're all in our 40s, pretty much, I think.
No, I'm not. What am I? I should know. I'm 50, 53. I tell you, it's bad. I can't even remember my age. 53.
53.
Yeah. Right. So Chris is saying, not decided yet, but low down. Need it off the sand bed as my orange spot goby. Will cover it. Probably raise a few inches. Yeah, I had that problem with wrasse. When I put the wrasse and the big tank into the tank in the garage where the chalice are, because they go into the sand. They go into the sand and just throws it all over the place. So I'm forever trying to keep the sand off the chalice. But I think, raising it a couple of inches, maybe on a little piece of rock or something like that is definitely going to help. And gobies, they just spit sand all over the shop, don't they?
Yeah, so mine sits here. Well, you can probably see it there.
Yeah.
And it sits there, and there's the gobies hole. And the pistol shrimp will come out every now and again and just scatter sand all over it. And to be fair, the flow kind of blows it off. But
it does.
It does need to be like Steve's got, like a little pedestal. He's got like another frag plug, hasn't he, underneath it? It just sits above.
Yeah.
My worry is when you go away and if you leave your tank for a few days and if it gets buried then and you're not there to kind of rescue it, that's one of my worries. But
well, that button scolly I've got.
Mm-hmm.
I lost 2/3 of it. So I was away for the weekend, and I found it when I came back. It was on top of a chalice, and the chalice has stung it, and I don't know. But where I'd lost 2/3 of it, there was just a little bit of a mouth. So if there's a mouth left, you're okay. I can't believe it's grown back, and there's only 1/3 of it that's dead now. So I can't believe it. When I moved it, I think a bit dodgy, but then it puffed up within 24 hours. And if it puffs up, you usually know it's okay. But I couldn't see the mouth. It was in real bad shape. And I thought, oh no, I've lost it. So that's a fantastic little scolly, that one. And they're quite hard to get scollies now. But fortunately, it's all okay. So I've put it in a different place so it can't be knocked over the place. And I put it in a little bit less light as well. Because if they're damaged, they do better in less light. So, I think it's all right now. So, as I say, I can't believe 1/3 of it has grown back already. So,
no like iodine dip or anything?
No, I just thought I'd leave it for 24 hours. Wasn't going to unset anymore and see what happened. And then as soon as it puffed out, like I said, I kind of knew it would be okay. Because if they're puffing up, that means they're feeding okay. If they lose their mouth, if they haven't got a mouth and just got a little bit around the edge, then they're usually finished. So I was... So chalices can be really harsh on other things, but I don't know what happened. All I can think of is because the flow isn't too bad on that side, or it's not that much. I think a wrasse has caught it and just knocked it around because they do again. They go into the sand and everything else. I mean, my big scolly I've put that on a big thread plug, so I've made one out of cement. Cement, and just sit it on there, and that way it doesn't get knocked about. It doesn't get the wrasse harassing them, and it doesn't get any sand in it.
So, you do hear quite a few stories of people saving scholars. You can't give up hope with those, I don't think. Obviously, it's the price as well, but they can be quite resilient. I think all corals can be quite resilient as well. I've had a few that looks like, especially a couple of SBS pieces, look like they're on their way out, but then you just either adjust them in terms of flow or light, or just move them somewhere where they've got a bit more space, and they can tend to bounce back, don't they?
Yeah, you find that if they go brown or lose their colour, then they can come back not easily if they go white. But I know some people whose SPS have gone white, and you think they're dead, they leave, and they come back to life.
Yeah.
It takes quite a while though, but usually if they're white, they're goners, but not always. But so Chris, I would definitely put that on a piece of rubble rock, and I think it's on a frag plug already, isn't it? So you could attach the frag plug to a little bit of rock, and that way it's less likely to get knocked around. But a great win, that one. Hi, Howard.
Evening, Howard. Hope you're well.
He said he's tardiness, but he's here before Ross and he's here before Steve.
I know, yeah. Well, Steve's probably doing the bus run to Qatar or something. I don't know. He'll have some exaggerated story to tell. So
whatever number bus it is, but he's probably got the his phone on the it wouldn't be iPlayer, it'd be ITV Hub, wouldn't
it? On the dash of the bus, definitely. Yeah. I know he has. Is he on at all tonight? I can't remember if he's on at all.
I'm not too sure. I think he said he finished. I can't remember if it was 9 or half 9.
Oh, right.
So he might be on for the last bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't. And also depends if he's at Manchester Arena as well, doesn't it? Because he'll stop photographs as he does.
Yeah, busy man.
Right. So evening, ladies and gents. Good to see you. Yeah. Good evening. MB Reefing. Oh, we've got a question.
MB Reefing, how are you getting on with your algae? Because I know his tank's the same age as mine with the green hair algae, and I'm having, if I'm being honest, I'm having a bit of trouble with this green hair algae. It's doing me head in now, and I know he's having the same sort of problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a bit of a nano 2.5-year-old nano problem, kind of 2 years to 2.5 years. Like they all go through like different stages, don't they?
Yeah.
You get your diatoms. Everybody pretty much has that. You always have a bit of cyano and in the summer. Hair algae in the nano, I think. I don't know. I'm just struggling. I'm not struggling, but I'm having to manually remove it 3 or 4 times a week. Clumps.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The phosphates are at 0.06. I'm not feeding any more than I normally do. I just think maybe the tank's matured at the back and there's a bit too much nutrients been locked. And maybe I need to do a sump clean. I don't know, but
I would clean this up. Whenever I do a water change on this tank, I do it in the rear sump where the return pump is. So I don't, because I'm never one to really clean the sand, although I probably do need to clean the sand a little bit.
Yeah.
But I tend to clean that area.
Yeah.
So I take out, because I still got the sponge, take obviously the auto top off from where it is. I know you haven't got the same kind of auto top off. And then take the sponge out, rinse the sponge. And also I take 10 litres, I do a 10%. So I take it from there. I probably should remove where the skimmer is, because that's probably quite dirty. So there's no reason why you couldn't do, I don't know, what's that, about 20 litres in the back? Maybe a bit more in that back chamber?
Yeah, probably.
Well, you could do a chamber at a time, couldn't you? You could do a chamber that's on to the far right as you're looking at it.
Yeah.
So that's where your return pump is.
Yeah.
And the next time do it in the chamber to the left. It's 3 chambers. Is it? That's 3
chambers.
chambers.
Yeah, it's 3 chambers. Yeah.
So you could clean out, if you didn't want to do a big water change, then you could just do a couple of weeks of 10 litres across there, because it could be loads of gunk.
I've never cleaned the sump. When people hoover them out and do that, I've never done that. I've never disturbed the bio balls at the back and in the sump. It just worries me, when you've got things balanced. If you start disturbing things,
but if you was to get 5 or 6 litres of water, take the bio balls out and put them into that water. Then you do the clean, you put them back in. You shouldn't get any die off or anything like that. So that shouldn't upset the tank, because it could be there's a load of crud around there and then it's breaking down. But the thing is, because when you've got green hair algae, as we said before, your readings are not necessarily, they are accurate, but they're not, because the algae is feeding off your nutrients. Therefore, it's reducing your nutrients. So you probably find that you have got excess nutrients, and you need to bring them down. And it could be a build up, because you haven't changed anything. It doesn't mean it doesn't build up over time. And all of a sudden it just hits. There was a really good, the last BRS video was really good, when he was talking about people say all of a sudden I've got green hair algae and I haven't changed anything. So about over a period of time, just a small change every week, and it just gradually goes up, and all of a sudden then the algae's in there, and then the algae builds up, but your nutrient levels don't change, so it seems quite stable. So I would consider cleaning out your sump, because if you're cleaning your tank and everything, then it must be in your sump.
Yeah, I clean my tank quite often. In the sandbed as well. I'll hoover that every now and again as well.
Yeah.
But I've never hoovered the sump, and I just feel that there's, like you say, there's some crud or something there that's just kicking out some nutrients, that's just pushing the, growing the algae. And so much so that I'm even thinking about changing my source water. So obviously I use spotless water, and you know what, I think it's quite good stuff. I know that's debatable, but I'm actually thinking, you know what, I want to have a better management of my own water that's going in. So I'm thinking of obviously taking the dive into Aquati and getting the RODI filter, the 5-stage filter and things.
Yeah.
Just so I've got more control over the water that's going in it.
Yeah, I've had it since day one, so I wouldn't even think. And that was an 130 litre tank, which is obviously slightly bigger than yours. But from day one, I decided to get an RO machine, and I've just upgraded it. What did you go for? Did you go for 100 gallon per day?
Yeah, is it 100 gallons or 100 litres? That one, whatever it is.
I think it works in gallons.
Does it?
I haven't said so it's 100 gallons a day. Although you very rarely get anywhere near it.
Well, yeah, I've only got a 20-gallon tank, so that'll cover it.
Yeah, no, I mean in terms of the speed, I could never get 100 gallons a day, because number one, the TDS going in is 300 plus, so that's really bad. Whereas Ross, I think, has 30 TDS.
Yeah, he's all right, isn't he?
So that would slow it down. And then the temperature in the summer, it makes such a big difference. The temperature of the water,
right?
You produce so much more. I mean, mine just behind me is where, if you saw the last video, that's where I make mine. My RO machine is out in the garden at the moment. It stays out in the garden all the time. The only time I take it in is if there's going to be frost, because what happens is it'll crack. Yeah, so then it goes into the shed with a blanket on, so it's then frost free, just to keep it warm and stop the frost.
The eye filter. Is yours the Aquati one, sponsored by Bearded Reef, or is it?
No, I can't remember what mine is. I bought mine from AAC, so I can't remember what one it is.
See, I don't know much about. I don't know which ones to get. What's the best, or are they all the same? Or I thought it was like, rather than the brand, isn't it just the number of steps is the better, obviously?
Well, the more filtration you got on it, the better it is. So I've got 2 membranes on mine. Got 3 pods. There's a carbon, a filter, and then the DI resin. And then if the TDS goes up, then I've changed the DI resin, because by changing the DI resin, that protects your membrane. Right. So as soon as the TDS goes above 0, I change the DI resin.
Right.
So DI resin
how much does that cost roughly for like a new?
It is about 30 quid for 5 litres. For 5 litres, it'll last you ages.
I'm gonna say, because obviously when you spotless water,
I
pay about £1.30 for 20 litres of RO water. So it's
it's a big bucket lasts you ages, because you only need it, because I think I used about 2 a year, and that was when I had the big tank, and obviously the 2, so that was 3 tanks going. I wasn't doing that many water changes, to be fair, so most of it was RO. Now I'm doing water changes, but I haven't got the big tank, so it probably works out about the same. But it lasts a long time. I don't even think about the fact that, if I was to say, that's just something I need, 5 litres.
How often are you changing your DI? If you use it every week, say, how often? Is it last half a year or something? Or
no, you change the DI resin, because it's 5 litres. It goes in a pod, so I don't know how much goes in a pod. I'm trying to think. It's probably about half a litre, maybe. Not even that.
Okay. So,
but as soon as it goes to 1, I then change it.
Yeah.
So I change the DI resin as soon as it clocks from 0 to 1.
And it knocks it back to 0.
That's the one I've got. So Chris Allen has just said, that's the one I've got, osmotics. Yeah, and the booster pump makes such a big difference. The video I'd done, which I sent to you on the machine, having a booster pump making 10 litres, it cut the production time in half by having the booster pump. That was because my water pressure wasn't as good. And then there's a comment out there about.
Did it come with the right? Yeah, that is the point. I think it is the source water. Obviously, I'm like jostling with window cleaners to get this water, and it does make me think, because some people, like, you get chatting, they're like, "What are you going to do with the water?" I'm like, "Oh, I've got it from my saltwater aquarium." And he's like, "And then what are you doing with it?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to just put it on somebody's windows." And he's like, you know, it's completely different uses, and maybe
It
there is a
is.
bit more phosphates in there than there should be. I've never ever done a test on the source water.
You could do it though, couldn't you?
I could. Let's do it on my next one actually, because I have got a spare. Will they test it if I send it to like Reef's Elements or?
Yeah, so you get some of them that do the ICP, and they'll do both the salt and they'll do your RO as well. I can't remember. Hopefully, someone will say in the chat. But there is, I can't remember which one it is that does both. Now, it could be Reef Elements that does it. I know Triton doesn't. So Triton just does the salt water.
Right.
So that's the one that I use. But I think there's at least one that does your RO as well. So it's worth testing. But I think if you get an RO machine, then for me, it's got to be, I'd go for 150 gallons. And I would go, measure the TDS going in and coming out. And also have a DI resin
TDS meters. You bought TDS meters, haven't you, going in and out?
No, it came with it. So the one I got, it had the TDS in. It's already fitted. Or was it? Did I have to fit it? I think I might have to fit it, but it came with it.
Right.
And it was all plumb, so you just have to put it in. So that was nice and easy to set up. TDS meter was with it. The DI resin was with it as well. So the chamber was already there because I had 3 chambers. So that worked really, really well. The booster pump didn't come with it, but some of them you can get the booster pump. I had the DD one. The DD one's pretty good. I don't know if any other mates do it. I think you can buy them when you buy the RO machine as well. So you could try that. So it was I wouldn't live in, I wouldn't have a reef tank without it.
So people who are using RODI filters, are they not experiencing algae problems or hair algae? Do they think that this will fix it for me?
Let's have a look. I mean, if it's just source water, then yes.
I'm getting out of ideas, Paul. I'm getting after this, and if I clean the sump out, I am really out of ideas to what's causing it to grow. You know, because I just think, well, these are the only last 2 things that I can think of that I need to cover, which is the nutrients appear to be in it's 3.6 for nitrates, 3.6, and then phosphates was 0.06. So that's quite low. I'm running a bit of Roa Phos, so just trying to keep it as low as possible, the phosphates.
It's definitely because you haven't done anything with your lights. So sometimes if you put your lights up, then that can trigger it. But it's triggered usually by excess nutrients.
Right. Okay. So maybe if I look at the source water, I just need to get a hang, because I'm cleaning it off and getting rid of it, and it's still coming back, and I'm like, it's getting frustrating now. Yeah.
Or you're in your sump, you've got loads of crud, and that's breaking down into nutrients. That's the other thing it could be.
Yeah.
If you, what was the last time you cleaned the rear chamber?
I've never cleaned it.
You've definitely got quite a lot of crud in there, I would say. So how long is the tank? Is it 18 months?
It's just over the 2-year mark.
Oh wow, that's gone quick. Yes, I mean 2 years and you haven't cleaned the sump. There's probably a good chance there's a load of crud in there, I would say, that's potentially breaking down, because you think that that detritus would have been in, some of that would have been in there for 2 years.
Right. So I need to get that little, is it like it's a pump, isn't it, that you pump out and you can pump the water out with like a little Hoover nozzle?
Yeah. Or you can get a manual one.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm struggling to find one of them that's any good, because I bought one from Amazon. It was just absolutely rubbish. So I need to get another one, because that way you just pump it, and the water just come out, so you haven't got to suck any tubes or anything like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So that works quite well.
One like that. I don't know if the nozzle will be too big to go down into the chamber. Maybe.
Yeah, okay. You might have to take your return pump out. But you can easily just do one chamber at a time. The only thing is, if you do one chamber, then when it goes to the middle one, that could have gone into the end one. But I mean, you could just do it all in one go. If you did like a 30% water change, it's not going to make much difference, is it?
I know I've got a lot of amphipods in the back as well, because I see them when that's another thing. It's like, I'm going to lose some of those guys, aren't I?
So you can do a bit at a time. So you can do it over a month. Do one of your water changes from one chamber, then go back to your main tank, and do it that way. They'll come back though, Jay.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, because you've always taught me to take things like steady and do little changes rather than do the whole cleaning, because that might be a bit of a shock. Do maybe one chamber each month. That's what I'll do. I'll start from one side, and that's what I'm going to do.
You can take it out and just shine a torch just to see what kind of crab. But I can't believe there won't be loads on the bottom.
It's going to look like the bottom of a canal or something, isn't it? It's like thick with sludge everywhere. It's going to be grim. Once I've siphoned it off, I'll show you the bucket. It'll be filthy, but absolutely.
Right. There's a couple. Just go to the comments. There's a couple of people have just made comments about that, and then I'll go back to a question.
If you can find out where to send the RO water to, that'd be good.
Yeah, there we go. Reef Factory Smart ICP does salt and RO test, 26 quid. So that's actually good value. That's better than Triton, because I think Triton is £30 plus.
Reef Factory Smart ICP. Let me just get one of them.
I use Spotless, and mine has always been fine, but my Trochus snails are bred, and I have about 100 of them in my nano.
Don't get me wrong, I think Spotless water is really good, so I don't know what else it could be, so it might be it probably is by the sound of it.
So Tekkers Reef is saying, Jay, I've got a free DD pump that's new for you. Want it? Got it from H2O. There's enough. I think they're about 60, 70 quid, those pumps.
Cheers, mate. That'd be great. That's for the RO.
Yeah,
the RO filter.
Yeah, it basically just increases the pressure. So you have a look at I'd have a look at the pressure first, because some people the pressure's fine. You need probably about 50 to 75. I think if over 75-ish, it can start not damaging the membrane, but it reduces the life of the membrane. So I've read. I mean, I've never had that problem, so I don't know. But that's what I've read.
Yeah, my outside tap doesn't have much pressure in the garden. It doesn't.
Yeah. So it's Spotless water, silicates and other nutrients. Spotless. I think it depends on the machine and how well maintained. Certainly the ones that are around. We've got one which is in Basildon, which is probably about 25 minutes away from me. And that one hasn't got a good reputation.
Right. Okay.
But it really depends who I don't know if it's a franchise or whatever it is. I'm not too sure, but it really depends on how often it's maintained. Yeah. And it's just no different to any RO machine you've got. You have to change I just changed the filter and the carbon, because I keep it out in the garden. It gets a little bit of algae in it because it gets sunlight on it. So I change. I mean, the filters are dirt cheap, and it's only my lazy. If I put it back in the shed, it won't get a problem. But I leave it out in the garden, and it's not very cold at the moment at all. So
it's all right out there.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tekkers Reef, that's really kind of you. Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah. There you go. I'm 17 floors up in block of flats with TDS as 275.
Jesus, 17 floors. Wow, is that? You must live in London or something. That is a tall building.
I changed from Spotless 6 weeks ago after TDS reading of 35. Best thing I've done.
Ah, right, okay. So people are not having so much hair algae who are not using it. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on it.
And there's just a couple of bits on that. I'll come back to the top. So I got the one that Ross had.
I've got the bearded ones. Yeah, that's what I'm going to get. So, in fact, tell a lie, right? It's my birthday next week, and I have got it because I've seen it. My wife's bought me it, and she hid it, but I found it by mistake.
and now she knows. If she didn't know, now she knows.
She doesn't know. She knows anyway, because I had to own up to it.
Did you say? I hope he's got a TDS. Has he got DI resin? And then she threw the unit at you.
She said, "Well, now you found it, you might as well have it." And I was like, "No, I'll wait for my birthday." So I have got the Aquati one because I know Ross said it was good, and it seemed it was a lot cheaper. It was only I think it was like £40 or £50 maybe. Yeah, it was a lot cheaper than the 150. I think it was about 50 or 60 maybe small. Yeah, but yeah. So I have got one, so I can't wait to get onto that, and then hopefully I can turn that corner then.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Chris Allen got the one. He obviously saw that. Well, he said he saw the video that I made on the RO, and that's why he got the osmotics video. It's really weird because when I first put that video up, hardly anyone. Didn't get hardly any views, And
Not really.
now it gets views every week because I think people search for RO machines and stuff like that. It's a bit dry in it. Unless you're really interested in it, you're not going to watch it.
You're gonna have to be struggling if you're gonna watch an RODI video on YouTube, aren't you? Really?
I think so, unless you want to buy one.
It's better than watching this England game, I think. But apart from that, it's not an exciting watch.
So there is one. I'm just going back to one about. Where's the one about sunlight? There we go. So, Rich, got a question about natural sunlight. I'm looking to put a tank somewhere, but all the places get sun in the morning and evening for an hour. So that doesn't get direct sunlight on it because we're north facing, but it does get a lot of light, and the side that faces the window at the moment has got a little bit of algae on it, not green hair algae, but the other side hasn't. I've known people that have got tanks and they're getting sunlight and it's fine. It can create algae, but I still think it's probably if you've got high nutrients, that's what's going to trigger it. Because I'm not too sure the sun is going to be any different to the lights you've got on your tank.
No.
So
I think it's actually quite good if it was only just an hour or so. It's if it's on there all the time, isn't it? And you get intense sunlight.
So if you've got the light on it all the time, plus then it's hotter because you've got the sun on it, so therefore your temperature goes up. Plus you've got the lights from your tank. In the summer, it's going to have light from, I don't know, 4:30, 5 in the morning to 10:30 at night, and that's without what you do as well. It wouldn't stop me.
You won't get sun in the morning, then late in the evening. If he's got to be talking about more than one place in the house. There, it's either going to be the morning or the evening. Isn't it? Can't be both.
So I get it in the morning, which is kind of in the summer about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when the sun comes up because it's quite high. It's on the tank, but it's hardly at all. We don't tend to get it in the evening. If it's only about an hour, I would try it out. It wouldn't bother me if it was about an hour. If it was all day, I'd think there'd be a combination of too much light with your own lights, and as I say, the hours that you get in the sunlight as well.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't worry if it's like a north-facing wall's ideal because you're never going to get the sunlight. But then west or east probably okay. I just think I'd avoid south-facing wall probably. Because then you're going to have the constant sunlight. And then when you had a summer like we had, that summer we had some reefing challenges this summer, didn't we, with the temperatures? And if you had a tank on a south-facing constant sun on the wall.
So if that tank was in the other room, which is obviously south-facing, not only does it get the sun all day, it'll get it directly all day, and the heat it creates in that room as well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you wouldn't need the ordinary lights on. You would need lights on as well, but because you wouldn't get the intensity, but I found even when I first put corals into that tank in the morning, because it's close to the window, the zoas are open. As soon as it gets light, the zoas are open. Whereas I know if it's further away, it doesn't tend to open so much. So it does have a difference. It wouldn't stop me if it's just an hour. Is my personal view.
I think people would have algae issues when it gets too much natural sun, though, don't they? I think it's the wide spectrum, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, and then you do see I think there's a couple of tanks in America. I've seen videos where it's predominantly natural sunlight comes through, and so they've done it deliberately. Now, whether the lights that they have from the normal lights, like these lights over the tanks, whether they have those reduced or they reduce to par, I'm not too sure. Yeah. Okay, let's just move on. So we've got fun from David there. Hi, Jay, been missing your videos. Any plans on starting to bring back content?
I do really want to bring back. Sorry, David, I do want to bring back content. It's just having the time. It's just getting the time, and also not a lot's happening at the moment with my tank. There's not many developments really, so that's why I haven't really moved on. What I need a new tank, and if I can get a new tank, then I can tell the story. You know, like I did last time, tell the story of it, the whole journey. I've got a few things coming up. So obviously I've got my RODI filter, so I can match Paul's video and maybe do I wouldn't do it as well, but I don't know if people want to really watch that. I am thinking about a lighting upgrade as well near Christmas. Yeah, well, yeah. Not changing the light, just an addition to the light. That's what I'm. I might as well tell you now, hadn't I?
Yeah, well, you've kind of said it already. Yeah, go on.
So you can get, Reef brights.
Yeah.
So you can get a Reef Bright edition for that.
You can get the strips. What, a strip that goes? Is that
yeah, but it fits.
Onto?
Yeah, so it fits. So this is my Christmas list here.
Right.
I've already asked Father Christmas for it. So it's just for like, because I like the colours of the LPS.
Yeah.
So where is it here? So I don't know where. Let me just put me light. So I saw this and I was like, oh God, that'd be really
good. On full screen.
It's at Charter. Where is it now? Charterhouse. Right. Okay. So it's there.
Oh, I see. Right, let me
see.
Yeah, I can see it.
Right,
okay, so it hooks over it.
Yes. So the XR15 is going to sit in the middle, and then these Reef Brights will be either side. And the reason why I want this is because I know Christian at Signature Crags on his LPS tank, he's got Radians, Reef Bright strips down either side, and when you look at the corals, obviously the pop and the color, the Reef Brights just look incredible. So and he just said I wouldn't run my LPS without the Reef Brights on it. It just looks so much better. So
does he do it to help with the spread, or is it purely that it helps with the way they look? Because you don't need any more spread on that. I mean, that light is sufficient for spread and for par, isn't it? So you don't need it for that reason.
No, if I turn this up, it'd boil like a kettle in here. That's the thing.
Exactly.
It runs at about 40%, 40% maximum. It's purely aesthetics. That's all it is. It's just aesthetics. So when you're looking at your corals, just the colours just pop. I think it's because it's got true UV. So this obviously the Radiant Gen 5 hasn't got true UV.
Okay.
Whereas the Reef Brights have.
Okay, so it helps with the UV, but also helps the pop of the colour a bit more.
Yeah, but just when I'm sat here having my cup of tea and I can just look at it, it'll glow even more. So so that's a development. And I've got another development, but it's not that exciting. But I will. Oh, and also with when there's another show as well, I can make a video on that. So when Paul organises his next gathering, you know what, Paul? I really enjoyed that event. I thought it was brilliant.
I know you did, and I know a few people, and I get the message sometimes like, when are you going to get your finger out and organise another event?
That's it. It's just a good excuse to get together, isn't it? And the other one, which arrived a few days ago, is my new. It's ready for the power. Power cuts. You remember?
The air pumps, battery. Is that battery, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So it's battery powered. I haven't used it yet at all, but USB charging lead.
Yeah.
And then it's got, I think is it 30 hours or something? Yeah, it comes with this little.
Okay, so it's rechargeable battery, because the ones I've got, they're not rechargeable. That's a bit more of an upgrade compared to the one I've got. Yeah,
and then it's got your two. So you obviously we talked about. I don't think there will be power cuts, but you never know, dear. So, it's got the power button, and then you've got your two. This is for up to 100 liters, which is mine 75. You've got your two air stones that go in.
Yeah.
And then I can just clip it on the side, and I think is it about 6 hours? I think of flow and air.
So Jay, so the problem is you have to keep it charged though, won't you? Unless you know there's a power cut in advance.
Charged now.
Is it fully charged? Right.
I'm ready for the power cut. I'm ready for it.
Otherwise, you go to switch it on and you haven't charged it, and it just goes kind of thing.
Well,
it doesn't work.
One of our reefers might do that. I think I can imagine one of them doing that. Steve would definitely do that. I'd be like, bloody hell, I can't believe that. Because he's terrible with his tech, isn't he? Bless him.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But it's fully charged, Paul. I've got it fully charged. To go.
I was going to say, that's going to be a schoolboy area. If you think, right, I'll charge it now. There's a power cut, and you go, can't do that.
I just need. Well, I've got one of my blankets here. So this is it's kind of lined. It's my waterproof lined blanket there. Look.
Yeah.
So I can wrap it up to some extent.
No, you're talking about my RO machine, and you're going to tuck in your tank.
Well, that's it. You took up your RO. Yeah, so I can wrap it up, and then I can plug that on, and then hopefully then we can maintain the temperature, and it's there. I've got something planned, so that was a bit of preparation gone in. It did take ages to arrive though. I ordered it and it was about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, maybe you're saying.
But now it's arrived. Yeah, so just in case I have a power cut.
So you're all prepared then. So you could
I
do
keep
a video
everything alive. I can keep the tank warm, keep everything alive. My power went off once before for about 2 and a bit hours. And the only thing that went wrong was that the largest fish, the clownfish, was in the corner and it was just struggling to obviously get the oxygen.
Yeah.
Everything else was fine. The corals were fine.
Yeah. So that would help with the fish and the corals.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oxygen. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exciting.
Well, hopefully, David, that answers your question. Right. So MB Reefing, been in hospital again with pneumonia, hoping to get my phosphate reactor set up this weekend and manually remove. Hope yours turns around soon. Your tank looks great. Which your tank does look great.
Cheers, mate. Well, every time I'm going to be honest, I take a picture of it. I've normally done a water change and I've cleaned all the algae out, so it does look better when you do that. Well,
yeah. Right. One from Andrew. Do you guys use a UV? If so, what's a good one for a 350 litre? So I've never used a UV. I've got to say, if I set up a big tank again, I would use a UV. I think Steve uses a UV, and I think Ross has got a UV on his tank as well. UKM 120 says TMC. I think DD do a UV, but the one that's got the best reputation is, I think it's called Troptronic, but they're not cheap. And when you need to change the bulbs, I think you have to send them away. But they're supposed to have a really good reputation. Yeah, Troptronic UV. If you Google that, as I say, they're not cheap, but they're supposed to be really good value in terms of the quality.
Yeah, I don't use one. What's he using it for out of interest? Is it dinos or what's he using?
What do you want to use it to? Because you've got two different settings, haven't you? I can't remember what way it is, but one is for kind of dinos, but then it doesn't cure all dinos, and the other one is to help with parasites.
Parasites and fish disease, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
If I had a big tank, I'd definitely run one.
Yes, especially if I had tangs. Well, I had tangs before that they got ick once, and I managed to cure it. I didn't manage to eradicate it from the tank, but they only had it once and never had it again after I managed to get them better. Yeah, right, let's just move on to some other. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, if you Google Troptronic and also DD, I don't know the price points on either of them. Oh, the TMC one's a really popular one.
Is that something you could get second hand as well to save a bit of money? I
think the issue then is about the bulb, because you don't know how old the bulb is. I think the bulb needs changing, I think, every 12 months.
Right.
From what I've read. But someone will tell us in there about how often you have to change it. And then Russell just put right at the very bottom, it's got an Eheim UV. I must admit, I like Eheim stuff. I've had a few of their pumps over the years. I've still got some pumps that I've had for years that are really good. So Eheim are a good brand as well.
Yeah, they are. I've got a heat bar that's Eheim, not in here, as you're doing your water, you're mixing your water.
Yeah,
works really well. And then the Eheim auto feed is really good as well, isn't it?
When the auto feed, and I've got a heater as well, and also got a couple of pumps as well.
Yeah,
and I've had all of those years. They I think they build really good quality stuff.
Is it German? Eheim.
It would, I think so. Sounds German, doesn't it?
Sounds
I don't know, actually.
Sounds it.
There we go. So filled up. So Tekker's Reef was talking about. He's got a 300 RODI model, and he filled up the Nano Peninsula, which was 100 litres. And 100 litres in an hour and a half. Wow, that's pretty good.
That is good. Didn't it take you a day to do it? It was about a day, wasn't it, on yours?
I can't remember how long it took. It took quite a while.
Yeah, I thought it did.
Yeah, I had to kind of stop and start because obviously the machine. I just run the pipe from the tap where the RO was straight through the door into them.
It's really it's looking really nice over your right shoulder. It just looks so clear and crystal blue. Remember when mine used to look that clear?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I haven't put any more corals in there, but the corals are doing all right. So I've got candy canes in there, got 2 or 3 zoas and an acan. And I'm going to put some more in there. I might put a blasto in there, and because I've got one of those out there, and also what else am I going to put in there? Some chalice. I've got a couple of nice chalice frags I can put in there. So that's all just what I'm doing. I've got really hardy ones in there. I'm going to put a few more sensitive ones in there to see how they go.
Yeah.
And then just put more and more. But they're all ones that I've got from other tanks at the moment. And then once I've got to about 5 months and I know things are growing okay, then I'll probably just take them all out and change them over for something else. But it's good if you've already got a tank, you can just throw corals in there and you haven't really got to worry about it. Because if one of them started to die, I just take it out, put it in the other tank, and it'll rescue it.
Yeah.
So it's not as if you think, oh my God, it's dying. What do I do? I just whip it out. I might be brave and put a torch in there. I don't know. I've got a couple of spare torches that are on the sand bed in the other tank. I don't know what to do.
So I might to put them in there.
Yeah.
You're not going with an enemy tank then, because I know you said
no. I will, but I'll let it settle. It's only just over 3 months old. I'll probably give it to 5 months ish. I know you can put them in before. Once it gets to about 5, then I've got someone who's going to give me a couple of NEMs.
Ooh.
So because he's looking at, he looked after some corals for me. He's had
that won't be Steve then.
No,
he can't get his out.
He can't get his out. He'd love to give his one away, wouldn't he?
He'd love to give you it, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So yes. So let's see what else we've got here. There you go, Jay. Just need a bigger tank and you can start again, which I think.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. Yeah. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed documenting like every bit of the journey as I went through and building.
It gives you content, doesn't it?
Yeah. Whereas now it's just nothing's really developing because obviously it's just growing out.
Yeah.
And I always think, who wants to just watch me talk about my corals growing? You know, they just get a little bit bigger each week. It's not much else to really say. You get to that point where you need a new project so you can get some more content.
Yeah.
Or go somewhere, go to an event or something. Then you've got content.
I mean, you could do an update every 3 months because things probably do change a little bit. You could do that every couple of months, but I think doing one every month is if you're not adding new corals and stuff like that, you haven't really got anything new to talk about, have you?
No, that's it.
Right. So, do anyone dose sulfur to their tanks? Any feedback, pros and cons? I must admit, I've heard of it, never done it, and it's not something I've ever considered. Nick's in the chat. I know Nick's done a lot of stuff and he's got certainly a lot more experience than I have.
Oh yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, he's done sulfur. And what for what purpose? I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But Russell, put in the chat. Why would you do that? I'm sure there's a good reason. Right, let's just go down.
Yeah, God knows, I don't know.
In there. So Nick's saying, I don't think it's a real change as Paul. Crud builds up in there is good for the system. But also, there's a balance. I get what you're saying, Nick, in terms of it helps build the bacteria and the goodness for the tank and everything else. But would it also have detritus and other stuff like that in there that would then break down into nutrients? I mean, I clean my sump every so often. Well, only because I think there's a load of crap in it. But I don't know, Nick. You got more experience than me. All I know is that from what you read and everything, you can get a breakdown of detritus and everything that's in your tank in the sump into that. But I could be wrong.
But I've always used the filter socks. I have. Do you have your filter sock in yours?
Yeah, I must admit I haven't cleaned it at all. I need to. They're really long, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you clean that out?
Yeah, I clean it probably every 3 or 4 days. And then because I think that must trap a lot of the things obviously going into the sump. And I've used that from day one. I know a lot of people don't like filter socks.
But the thing is though, on this tank, so I've
just joined the chat. This is a filter sock, by the way. But they work well, and that must stop a lot of detritus getting through to the other chambers.
Yeah, because you can't really put a roller filter or anything on there, so you're really stuck with with that. And I find because if you look at the size of the tank compared to how big those filter socks are, it probably takes a while before they crud up a bit like certainly the ones on the other Red Sea tanks, like the ones I've got there on 170. You have to change them every 3 to 4 days. They start overflowing. I probably should clean mine out.
Yeah. Well, I thought you're supposed to clean them out every few days, aren't you? The socks.
Yeah, I haven't that, but then I've only got 2 small fish.
Yeah.
I probably should have a look and see what's happening with that. Right. Okay, let's have a look. So Reef Elements ICPs have always come back next day for me, worth the extra.
Wow.
I think. Reef Factory needs to go to Poland for testing, so we'll take a few days unless you pay extra postage. Okay, so yeah.
I've got a Reef Elements one, but does it do ICP? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, it's ICP. Does it do RO?
RO, yeah. Sorry. It doesn't.
I don't know. Is the answer. If you got it there, does
Well,
it
I've
say?
got one here. Yeah.
I've looked to see what it says. Because it should say.
I've got one next to me stocking.
All ready for Christmas.
Christmas stocking. We aren't ready at all. We haven't done anything, but I don't know why this is out. The stocking. My wife's put it out. No, it just says saltwater test. Look.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you can get one that has RO as well.
I don't know.
Because I think it would say saltwater and RO. If it did.
It should do, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have thought so.
Yeah. So I suppose if you're in no rush, it's not a problem. Then you could send the Reef Factory off to Poland, and then if it takes. Let's face it, in the scheme of things, if it takes extra 2, 3, 4 days, then
worth it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Hand Voodoo. I've used the Cardiff Spotless water for years and no problems. Unlike most shops, which you might experience takes the pee. Yeah, you do find that people get their RO from LFS. LFS do from time to time do sell water. Not all of them, to be fair. There's some really good ones, but some do let the TDS drift.
I've had some water. I bought some water from an LFS in the early days, and I did test it with my TDS meter, and it was high, and I've never used it. I'm not going to name and shame the LFS, but yeah, I did.
Yeah. So 0 TDS every time. And then MK Reef is saying Reef's Elements test RO and the results come back quick. You might have to open the pack up and have a look. I mean, usually you get two vials to fit in anyway, don't you? I know with the Triton one you have 2, but it's 2 lots of salt water. I think just in case. I don't know if they do a test from both of them or why you have the secondary one, unless one splits or something. I don't know in the post. But you might want to have a look just in case it is both RO and salt water, and it's just not on the pack.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a look.
And missed this from earlier on. The NG Reefer, 150 gallon per day from Aquati with their pump. Really rate it. I know. I think on the back of Ross having, I think he bought it from them first of all, didn't he? And then it obviously they sponsored the channel and everything else. Loads of people have bought that brand of RO machine.
He must be rich now, Ross, off that. Sure.
I don't think he gets sponsors. Yeah. But I won't be happy at the moment. He's not making videos.
Well, I know, yeah. It takes me about 10 minutes to get to his video because I watch all his sponsors.
We have said that.
It's a new one every week. Hasn't he got I'm sure I saw him being sponsored by AI now, Aqua Illumination. Wasn't it?
They've reposted on Facebook, I think, his tank. That was this week they've done that.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's sponsored by him. If he is, he's not telling us. he's probably it a secret because he's loaded by them being sponsoring him. But I remember them posting some pictures of his tank. That was ages ago. But obviously they've reposted them again. But his tank's lovely, isn't it? So why wouldn't you? If someone's using your light and you've got a tank that looks like that, then you're gonna post pics. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
This just going back a little bit earlier. So it's the free ammonia combined with sunlight that triggers algae growth. And then Mitch was saying the position of my house, it comes up in the front of my house, then I get an hour through the rear patio during the day. So that probably means it's on potentially on a different part of the tank as well. So yeah, as we said earlier on, Rich, it wouldn't stop me setting up a tank if I had that situation. But you know what it's like. Let's have a look. We've got need another live fragging by Jay.
You certainly don't. Oh my god, that went west, didn't it? Because I fragged the Zoas and then I put them into that tiny little Pico tank or whatever we were doing, and that just went, didn't it? Because they're so difficult. I saw Reef Doc throwing his away, wasn't it? This week
I saw that there was a picture on Instagram, wasn't it? It
They are, with all due respect, they are good fun. I really enjoyed making it, but they're just the volume of water is too small to actually sustain life.
Yeah, but Rossi's is still going, and so is Steve's is still going as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. They are actually.
I've never been to an event. Be good to go and meet you all. Yeah, it was great because there's quite a few people that join every week that was at the event as well. So it was good putting faces to names, and it was good. There's some good speakers and everything else as well.
It was great, really
great space, I think. So this is an easy answer. All for Reef. It's brilliant. It's really good. There's people like Haley. I don't think is in the chat tonight, and there's a few other people that were talking about All for Reef ages ago when we first started this chat. I think
yeah.
And I use it on the 170 litre tank, and it's just so easy to use. You've got one dosing pump. It's solid. It's got all I think it's got all your trace elements in there as well. Your minor. So I think it's really good. On a much bigger tank, I must admit I use Red Sea. But I think on a smaller tank, I use the liquid, but I just bought the powder. But I haven't finished the liquid off, so I'm going to mix the powder. It's more cost effective in powder form compared to liquids, which is the same as Red Sea as well.
I spent a lot of time researching at the start whether to use All for Reef, and I think with a nano, it probably is the best one, isn't it? I think so. I mean, I don't use it, but I think if you've got a nano, I think it probably is the best all-in-one.
Yeah, but also you've got one dosing pump as well.
Yeah.
So quite often I've had All for Reef, or you've got 2-part, or something like Red Sea, which is one where you do your kind of calcium, magnesium, and alkalinity separately. Of course, you need 3 pumps for that.
Yeah.
But if you go like the Red Sea, and I'm talking about Red Sea because I still use it today on a bigger tank, and I started using it when I first started dosing, so that's over 7 years.
Yeah.
That does the 3 main elements, but it doesn't do the minor elements. So then Red Sea has got I think it's called Coral Color, and it's an A, B, C, D, because everything seems to be A, B, and C for Red Sea, and that is like potassium, iodine, strontium, and then there's one that has all the rest of them in there.
Yeah.
So the good thing about All for Reef, you shouldn't need to dose any other trace elements unless you've got things like Goniopora, which then you might need to top up with manganese, and there may be some others. But I mean, obviously magnesium you need really, didn't you, for torches? And you speak about that quite a bit.
Yeah. Magnesium and manganese for LPS, it just seems to thrive. They really do.
So if you notice, because I know after Love to Reef, you bought the manganese based on what Laura said, didn't you? Have you noticed a difference on your Goniopora since you've been dosing that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've noticed a difference in colour, but I've definitely seen a difference in growth and kind of your polyp extension and just general health and happiness of it. Of the Gonies, they just seem to respond really well to it. Going into the tank, I know Steve is talking about how much manganese he puts in. It's something like 2 mil a week or something. I'm using like drops a week. It's tiny amounts. But I have noticed that not just the Gonies, but the torches as well. So they're the 2 main things that I like in my tank that I kind of keep a close eye on, is the torches and the Gonies, and they both respond really well to manganese. And magnesium as well. My magnesium's at over 1400, and it's always sitting at that level. So they seem to like that as well. Yeah, it's good.
Fair enough.
For health.
Yeah. I have no issues at the moment, but was going to be for algae as a precaution. Oh, okay, that's the UV.
Right, okay.
Now, if it's a UV, I don't know enough about UV, so I don't know if UV helps prevent algae. Possibly, but I don't know because I've never used it before.
It kills bacteria. It can kill your beneficial bacteria as well as your
it does.
harmful bacteria as well, isn't it? So
yeah. So Chris Allen's 6-month bulb change, I think, got the TMC Titan 550, big but decent. And then the Tronic, which is one mentioned earlier on, is bulb recharge every 18 to 24 months, which is pretty good. And then there's 18 to 24 months is good.
Yeah, that is good, yeah.
Sulfur has been lacking from some dosing methods, hence why some people have had to dose sulfur if using those products. And then I can send a video, Jay, that I think will help you with this system a bit as an offer there from Nick.
Oh, thank you, Nick. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. I still haven't got to the bottom of what it's for, though. You know, why is it? I've not heard of this. I've watched quite a lot and read quite a bit, and I've not heard anything about
what sulfur.
The benefits of sulfur in a reef tank.
I've heard it mentioned before in videos, but I haven't really taken much notice of it. It's a fair point. Right, here we go. There's a question. Hi, everyone. I have a question. What salt would you recommend for a soft core only tank? Currently using Tropic Marine Pro Reef, but think it may be overkill when it's 85 quid a tub. I'm biased because I use Red Sea Blue, and I've used Red Sea salt since I had a tank. And when I first started off with, I say softies, I started off with mushrooms and zoas, and it worked really, really well. I think the Red Sea one's cheaper, the Red Sea Blue. I can't remember if it's 60 or £70. But I'm sure there'll be some people in the chat that use others. But I use it in a mixed reef, and I think it works really well. It mixes really quickly. I've never had any problems. Although, as we discussed last week, and a couple of people have messaged me, Red Sea, I think, have changed their formula because it seems to be, there's a few people, the tank there, the alkalinity is about 9.4. And obviously I use that bucket for this. Whereas in the other tanks, it hasn't really changed because I've been changing my dosing. And if you're doing a 10% water change every week or every 2 weeks, you're probably not, if you're dosing stuff, you're probably not going to notice much of a difference. So for me, I'd go Red Sea. But then if I had a softy tank only, I'd go Red Sea. If I had mixed reef, I wouldn't. If I go SPS, I would. I just like the Red Sea salt. So I don't know if I could be objective on that, but I have been using it for just over 8 years now. What salt do you use, Jay?
Yeah, I use Tropic Marine Pro Reef. It is quite expensive, I think. But is it a case because there isn't a great deal of salt brands out there, really? Is it a case of just reducing how many times you do a water change? Because if you've got softies, perhaps you don't need to do as many water changes. Therefore, you start to save a bit of money. Maybe that's the way. I mean, there's what is there? There's Fritz as well, isn't there? Fritz salt.
Yeah. So the Red Sea is 63 quid at the moment, and also I might actually get this with the Red Sea. Excuse me. You can get a refill, which is just a box, and that's 20 kilograms. So it's 10% less, I suppose, than the 22 kilogram, and that's 55 quid. And if you've got a softy tank, then you'd probably have dirtier water, wouldn't you? And therefore, you wouldn't dose, and then you would change every so often, unless you've got lots of fish and you're feeding really, really heavy. You certainly haven't got. I suppose if you're feeding really heavy and your nutrients go up, then you're going to maybe get algae or other things of that. But so Red Sea, I'd recommend, and it's quite a bit cheaper. You got 85 quid compared to 62 or 55 for a refill.
Yeah. I'd stick with Tropic Marine. It's just an expensive hobby, isn't it? But give your corals what they need. Tropic Marine's good salt. Maybe just do slightly less water changes to reduce your cost.
Okay, there's another one there, Jay. There's another one that does RO. So reef elements. So there's the offer 2 different tests. So you might just have bought the salt water one.
Right.
It looks like there might be a salt water and an RO. You could always buy the RO and the salt water and get one and just keep that one. Just buy another one.
Yeah, just get another one. Yeah, I think that's right because otherwise it would say RO on the front of it. I think
you would have thought so.
Yeah, just over £30.
Yeah, and there's one that says you have the one that just says saltwater.
Yeah. Thanks, Stu.
All for Reef is great. Use it on my Red Sea Max Nano. So easy to dial in. I think for me, it really is the fact you only need one dosing pump. So you save on wires, potentially you save on cost, and it's just really easy.
And you don't need to calculate how much you need of each separate one to make sure it's balanced. It's giving you the balance as it's putting it in, isn't it? Because they work out the balance of the magnesium and the calcium and the alkalinity within one solution, don't they? Whereas when you're doing it separate, you're constantly testing every few days, aren't you? To make sure you've got a balance going in.
Yeah.
You haven't got a spike. So I think, just for ease, or if you're a beginner, or if you've got a nano, all for Reef looks, well, it is. It's good stuff.
And also with a nano, you generally don't have that much room in the cabinet. No. So you really don't want loads of wires and bigger pieces of kit. And you think how small one of the dosing pumps you can get nowadays. They're getting smaller and smaller. So it's just the room as well, isn't it? There's just so many pluses to it, I think.
I think as well, just ask yourself the question, are you going to stick with that nano? Is that what you're going to have all the time? Or if you are going to upgrade in the future, maybe then for future proofing your equipment and not having to spend twice, maybe you go and have separates, because in a year's time or 2 years' time, you're going to have a bigger tank as well. So,
yeah. That's the one. So if that's the Red Sea Coral Pro, that's the one that has the alkalinity at about 12. Which for a softie, I would say you don't need, because you don't need, your alkalinity usage is probably not, it's not going to be that much, and water changes would probably be sufficient. But if you want to run your tank that high, then that's definitely the salt to go for. My first bucket of salt I ever got was the Coral Pro, and then I decided just to change to that because I didn't need it alkalinity that high.
Yeah. I think if I was a coral farm, I'd use Pro Reef, because you're going to get faster growth, aren't you? But I think everything else, blue bucket.
Yeah. For my last RZ test, sulfur is highly linked to bacterial activity. Presence of sulfur in much lower concentrations from the normally found in salt water, it can lead to bacterial issues. I'm going to have to look into that. It's something that's, like you, Jay, just passed me by. I've got to say.
I've just never seen anybody talk about it, or I haven't read about it. And then I know I've only been in the hobby 2 years, but I think I'd have heard of it before this live stream. So interesting.
But I've got to say, until recently, we certainly hadn't talked about manganese, have we?
Well,
manganese. We hadn't talked about it at all.
That was Laura, wasn't it, that kicked out. Really.
Absolutely. And let's face it, when we set up our tanks, we knew magnesium was part of one of the 3 elements, but not much has been really said about, okay, magnesium, having that higher and making sure that's at a decent level helps your torches. And maybe it was, and I just passed me by, but we're now getting into, I think the science of it is going into a bit more detail and is more specific around certain groups of corals, around having certain kind of elements, and these are really important. And that will probably come more and more, that more specific corals will need different kinds of things, not generic, these levels all the time, and a bit more detail that goes into it. Having said that, if you think about all the things around coral, there's hardly anything that really talks to fish and says about, well, actually, because you think we throw frozen into our tanks. Yeah. But there's certain fish that they'll eat the frozen, but a bit more picky, and we do with more veg and other stuff that's more in fats and other things. There isn't much that's talked about around certain species of fish really need this. I know talk about tangs and needing nori and algae rings and stuff like that, but nothing much beyond that.
Yeah. We spend a lot more time, like you say, thinking about the chemistry of the water for the corals than we do with what's in the fish food for the fish. So, like you say.
It's a bit like with wrasse, they've got quite small mouths. So actually putting big lumps of food in, you see them, they'll take a little bit and then they'll spit it out. And you think how many people have wrasse. Yeah, if you look at all the frozen food that's around, there's nothing specific to wrasse.
Yeah.
Yet the number of people that have wrasse in the tanks, you would have thought, I would say TMC, because one TMC import a lot of fish, don't they? They have about, 70% of the market.
Yeah.
But also they're big in the frozen food, aren't they? You've got TMC and I can't remember what the other make is. So you would have thought they would have a frozen food for wrasse. Don't know.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? Like for different species, different. The debate around fish food is kind of minimal, isn't it? We don't really talk too much about it. I know Steve makes his own like little kind of fish food, doesn't he? From going to
Morris and the fishmongers, and then throws it all out, gets a blender, and then he's done. Then, isn't he?
I mean, his fish are on a really good diet, aren't they? But
they eat better than him.
I think they do.
They do. You think about all that kind of prawns and other kind of shellfish and all of that. I wonder how often he tucks into a seafood platter or something.
That's why he's got the UK's biggest chromis. That's because he feeds them so well.
They're nuclear, aren't they? They're Chernobyl.
They do look like a Chernobyl fish.
On his last video, I thought the chromis were bigger than the tang.
They are. I think they are, or at least the same size.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just
they are ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. I must admit, I've changed. I was speaking to Paul at AAC. I got lazy with food and just thrown in frozen, and that was it. I've now reduced the amount of frozen, and because I've worked from home most of the time now, I use pellets and flake in the morning, so all the fish get that, and they may have some algae that's in there or some flake, and then they'll get frozen in the evening. Because I went down the route of defrost the frozen, whack it in the tank, and it's done.
Yeah,
and I try and mix up, so some of the pellets are really small, and then the flake I crush some of it up because I've got mostly small fish. So when I put that in, there's a variety of different flake and maybe 2 or 3 different pellets.
I think that's it. You got to mix it up and give them a variety of foods rather than just the one or whatever. It sounds like yours are on a good. So you get fed twice a day, do they?
Well, I mean, so what I've done is I do half the frozen that I used to do, and so I do it twice a day now. I'd like to do it more, but I'm just forgetting. So this tank, because I can get up first thing in the morning, as long as it's light out, I can throw the food in. They'll wait, they're clowns, and everything else, and then I'll do sometimes in the other tank in the morning when the lights are out. The only thing is the wrasse not up then. So sometimes I have to wait until the lights are on to do that. But I've now started doing that. Whether it makes a difference, it was just really speaking to Paul, and he was just talking about the different food groups and the different fish. Yeah, and actually, just because they eat it doesn't mean it's good for them.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh, they've eaten it. That's great. They're nice and healthy. But they're just taking in a load of crap that they don't usually eat.
I honestly think mine will eat anything. Whatever you put in there, there's a bloody feeding frenzy. And they always look hungry, don't they? They always, as soon as you walk into the room, they're up to the glass and coming to see you. Yeah. But I think lobster eggs is that goes down really well in this tank. Yeah. I love lobster eggs. And I always think, you know what, there's a few stray ones there and the coral's going to pick those, those fine foods up as well. So, lobster eggs is one of my favourites.
Yeah. And that's why I crush up the flake. So I crush up the flake because it then doesn't hover on the top and then go down the weir. Yeah. But also, because it's all crunched up and it's going through and it's flying around, you've got a good chance of the corals picking it up as well. So I'm going more towards this, because I haven't got big fish, going towards more the smaller pellets, the smaller food, just so it's easier for them to take it in. And also I think feeding twice rather than once, and I've cut down on each feed, you've got less waste as well. Yeah. So therefore I think it helps the nutrients. I'd be good to get more. I might do some more reading up on the foods and just to understand it a bit more. Because you think I've done zero in all the time I've been in the hobby around, okay, what's the best food for your fish? And you think about, what? That is like, why are you doing that? It's really bad.
I think, I don't know. I think there's a danger that fish come second in our reef tanks, don't they, often? That's the thing. You're so busy, you're hooked on the corals and what the corals are doing. The fish just seem to be there and doing their job and happy, don't they? That's the thing.
But I do. But when I go out into the garage, I'm looking more at the fish than I do the corals because the fish have got like pipefish, got wrasse in there as well. So got some really nice, colourful fish. Got a hawkfish as well. So I think by getting different fish, that really helps as well.
Yeah. Do love it. I love a new fish day. You know, when you get a new, obviously you've had that new fish day. I love it when you go and pick your new fish up. There's so many great fish.
So what I did last,
you wrote a list, didn't you? I was just about to say that.
I was just about to say I got the list here, so I was going through all of them because with each new tank I set up, I like to do different fish. Obviously, I've got clams in there, so that's the opposite to new, but that's more to do with the nems than anything else. But like the other one, the first time I got pipefish, I got a neon blue goby, I got the hawkfish. So I think what I'm going to go for in here is a cherub angelfish.
Yeah.
Because I know angelfish could chomp on the corals, but if I go nem, I haven't seen anywhere that says that an angelfish tries to go for a nem. It may well be, it doesn't, because it might be poisonous to it and it stings it. Yeah. So I've always loved angelfish, but because I've always had a mixed reef, there's no way I'm going to go for an angelfish. I know people say you can get a flame angel and there's some that reef safe, but I'm not convinced that I'm not going to get one that in 2 years is going to go rogue and then eat all your scollies and everything else. So so the cherub angelfish only gets to about 1.5 inches. Yeah. So the clownfish.
I listened to your live stream. I know you thought I was watching the football because Derby was on last week, and but I was listening to the live stream, and I never knew an angelfish could fit into whatever it is. It's like 100 liters, isn't it? Yours? An angelfish can have it being 100 liter tank.
So basically, it's an 1.5 inches. So I looked online. I spoke to Paul at AAC as well, and he said that will be fine. In that, once you look at all the other angelfish, they all get bigger than that. Yeah. So what I would do, I'll have the clowns. I'll have an angelfish. They can get quite aggressive, so that'll be all right with the clowns because they hold their own. Because I was going to get like the Watchman goby and stuff like that, but they're quite timid fish, and the cherry fish would probably tear it apart. So he said probably best to in a smaller tank. And the cherry ones can be quite aggressive as well. It does say semi-aggressive when you look on online about it. Just that and a pair of clownfish will probably be fine. Yeah. If I can't find that, then I'll probably go for a yellow Watchman goby. Is it Watchman? Yeah. And also maybe another pipefish or something that's small. It's just got different coloration on it.
Oh, which is the one that I went and looked? Is it the Arabian? I forgot what it's called. It's super colourful, but it was aggressive. So I nearly got one.
Yeah.
Arabia, I can't remember what it's called now.
But there was so many different ideas that people said about firefish. The one I really liked was a pink streak wrasse. Then I looked it up and it's about 150 quid, and I thought, no, I ain't spending 150 quid on a fish.
Spend it on a coral, but not a fish.
Do you know what? That is quite true.
Yeah.
Weird. So which goes back to your earlier point, doesn't it? Around the focus on the corals. I wouldn't spend 150 quid on that, but I would on that.
Where's that marine fish now? I can't remember.
But while you're looking at that, I'm just going to move on because I'm way, way, way behind on the comments. So I'm going to just try and catch up now if I can. So I'm just going to whiz through. So
the neon Arabian dottyback. It was the Arabian dottyback. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah. So dottybacks.
Yeah.
I don't know if they all are. Dottybacks have a reputation of being really aggressive. So you have to be careful what you put them in with.
What made you say no to the file fish out of all my fish is the nicest, most colourful fish. It gets on with everybody. It's just like it's just a happy fish.
I think because I want to go for an angelfish.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's the appeal of having an angelfish. If it wasn't that, then actually you might be right. I could go for a purple firefish and go for a pair of them. I probably
lovely fish.
If I've got 2 clowns, I've probably got room for 2 other small fish. Four fish is more than enough, I think, for that tank. Don't want the nutrients to be too high. So I think an angelfish in those 2 will be fine. If not, then I might go for, like you say, a Watchman goby and also a filefish. No, not filefish, a firefish. Yeah, there's so many choices when you look into it, and people just. I must have got about a list of 20 different fish here. And when I looked into most of them would be okay for this tank.
Yeah,
which is brilliant.
It's helpful. The community is so helpful. As soon as you need some help and some advice.
Yeah, because most of them I wouldn't even consider, and a couple of them I hadn't even heard of before.
Yeah, definitely.
But there we go. Right, okay, so just switched from Nios to Trophic Marine Salt. Now my corals will have a water change, which I never saw with Nios. Nios is fairly fairly new. I haven't really heard of many people using it.
Just switch from Niles.
Yes, that's what I've been told. FM say do water changes, which I was in my old tank.
Well, that scared me though. Just swapping your salt.
Yeah.
Is Steve talking about swapping his salt, or is that something else?
No, he's talking about moving to calc and moving away from aqua forest to Reef's elements.
Yeah,
because Reef's elements would be cheaper than what he's using. I mean, when you're dosing 300 ml a day, but I think he might end up going for calc first. Obviously, that would then reduce his dosing of aqua forest, and then switching.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So, sulfur oxidizes, helps with coral defense against pathogens. Most salts and bowling dosing methods provide adequate sulfur, so it's not normally required to dose separately. But that would be. But I suppose then it's kind of when you decide what you're going to dose, you need to understand, I suppose, what elements it contains and what it doesn't.
Thanks, Nick, though, for enlightening us there.
So there's a good question. Zoas. So what's a good zoa? So God, you've got a garden of zoas, so I'll let you go first.
I've got, but they're nothing. Well, they are quite special to me, but they're nothing special. I think they're all kind of run of the mill. But I've got what have I got? Spitfires, rastazoas. Now, just be careful with rastazoas because they're like bloody weeds. I planted rastazoas, and I really like the kind of bullseye target in the middle of the colours of them, but they grow really quickly. Whatever you're going to go for, plant them all at the same time, and so that they can actually have a chance of being like equal sized colonies. I planted mine in 2 lots, and now I've got a disproportionate amount of corals. Mandarin zoas are really nice, orange. BBBs are one of my favourites. Is it blonde hair, blue eyes, or something? I think there's another phrase to it as well, but I won't say that. Blonde hair, blue eyes, or something. BBBs, they're nice. And I can't remember the name of the got some blue ones, but I'll tell you where to go for zoas. It is Ocean Blue Corals. His zoas are absolutely incredible. Like super healthy, so much choice. It's UK based, and where's his shop there? Ocean Blue Corals. That's the one. Beautiful, healthy zoas, and you've got like so much choice. Yeah, and it's also WYSIWYG. So as the frag looks, there's nothing for sale.
Oh, that's no good then, is it?
Well, I don't know.
Is he sold out? Is he shut down, or maybe?
Welcome to our online store. So that bit, the front bit's still the same. I don't know here.
Maybe
it's black. Maybe it's sold out for Black Friday. Maybe he's.
That's a lot of zoas.
It's there.
Well, you've done it. You nearly put him out of business, then, Joe.
Oh no, yeah, he's there. So you've got all of them there. There's just so much variety, and there's definitely going to be one that you like there. But
so my favourites have got contrasting colours. Those Sunny Days, they're really good, really bright. Utter Chaos,
good one.
Scrambled Egg, Seduction.
Hey, I had a Seduction actually. I got some Seduction. Yeah.
So if you look at it, and also the good thing to do, if you don't put them too close to one another and get contrasting colours. So like Utter Chaos, if you put those next to Sunny D's, you kind of then got a yellow next to a kind of bright orange red. They'll pop together. Scrambled egg, kind of yellowy. What as eggs are?
Yeah, scrambled eggs. They're good ones.
Here we
like them ones.
So that's on there. Here he is. Look.
Here he is.
Here he is. Old Blake off the buses.
Not even took the gear off, mate. Literally just flew in. Still got the hat on because it's absolutely freezing.
Have you got no heating in your cab?
No. Oh, we don't have heating, mate. Costs money.
Yeah, it's because the door's open all the time, isn't it? Every time.
Yeah.
But very good to see you. Very good to see you, mate.
Evening, chaps. How's it going?
Yeah, really good. We're just talking about, someone just said they're going to buy some zoas
Yeah.
What would you recommend? I was just talking about Sunny D's, Utter Chaos,
Yeah.
Bam Bam's a good one as well.
Yeah.
Seduction. I'm trying to think
Rainbow
else.
Hornet.
Pink zippers.
Yeah, pink
Some
zippers are
some
good.
BBBs. BBBs are my favourites.
Yeah, Jay was just talking about that. I think all the ones I've mentioned are cheap ones as well, and they're really hardy. I think if I just had to have a choice of two, it would be Sunny D and Utter Chaos.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they grow really well. They're really hardy and they're lovely colours as well.
And the colours, fantastic,
And they're nice under whites as well as blue.
Absolutely.
And they don't tend to melt. Whereas something like a pink diamond melts, and the ones that I think melt the most is hallucinations. They never come down in price. They're about 140 to 200 quid a polyp, and you look at them and they melt.
Is that why they call hallucinations? Because
because
one minute you see them, next
make it hallucinate. Yeah.
You could have sworn you had a Zoa on that plug, and it's not there.
Yeah. Isn't it the Krakatoa? The expensive one.
Yeah, so I've got a volcano Krakatoa, so I've got one of those. I swapped it. I've actually swapped it with something else, and I got it. I didn't realise what it was. And again, I had those in 2 different tanks and 3 different colonies, and one just melted. Just disappeared overnight. Whereas the other 2 was okay, and you're thinking, what's happened? There's another colony in that same tank that was okay.
If you can explain how Zoas work, you're onto a winner, because they just turn. Sometimes they just never open. Sometimes they'll silk for ages, then they'll start to open. They've got a mind of their own, haven't they, Zoas? They just do what they want. But,
absolutely.
The BBBs, is it BBBs that you recommended, Steve? I've got those ones, and they're one of my favourites.
Yeah, I love them.
The blue in the middle is so bright, isn't it?
Yeah, I love them. I really do like them. They're my favourites, I think, out of all of them. But like you said, Paul, you've got chaos. If you want a bit of like colour and nice brightness in your tank, for sure, the Auto Chaos are some of the best ones you can definitely get for your tank. You know, to just light up that rock, and they're fast growing. And like you said, I've seen some Auto Chaos, like where they're dead tiny, like really small Auto Chaos, and then I've seen some which are the size of like 10p pieces, mate. Huge how they grow. Some of them are crazy, you know what I mean? So, in fact, in my LFS, my local LFS, they got some of the biggest Auto Chaos I've ever seen in my life, mate, in their display tank. They're absolutely massive. I've never seen anything like them. I said, what's the secret to them? And he's like, nothing. I don't do anything. It's just like, it must be a strain, you know, a different strain of them or something, maybe. I don't know.
If you change your light settings as well, though, have you noticed they'll like reach up or they'll drop down?
They adjust themselves to the light, don't they? Some of them, the tentacles, I did on the Sunny D in the bigger tank, they was like 2-3 inches. They were stretching to get past the others to get to light. Whereas I've got rainbow incinerators, which are nice, another nice one. In one of the tanks, the polyps are just really big. And I got them in another tank and they're not. So it really depends on the nutrients, the light, the flow. Like everything, it's the same strand that's come from the same original frag. Yet if I look at them, you can almost look and say, that's not the same Zoa, because one of them looks massive and the other one just like a normal small-headed Zoa. But they're
the crazy thing is, when I have like visitors around, they come and look at the reef tank. It's almost always the Zoas that they like best. They're like, oh, I love that like patch of flowers there. Them Zoas, well, they don't know they're called Zoas, but the patch of corals. I'm like, well, what about the bloody rainbow chalice here? What about that? Oh no, the Zoas.
Do you know how much I paid for that?
Them Zoas are like, what, £10 a frag? The bloody chalice is next to it. Now the Zoas are nicer. And I'm like, you've got no idea.
Let's move on. So John was saying that his only fish shop in Skeggy is closing down next week. So he's got to do a 50-mile round trip to buy frozen food.
What?
Oh, no.
I'd get it delivered. You can order frozen online and you can get it delivered.
Make your own, John. Make your own. Somebody actually emailed me. Let me see who it was. Not email me. Messaged me on Instagram today. Who was it now? He messaged me saying, did he hear me say something about Mark? Some guy, Mark Stephen. I don't know if he's on the live stream. He said, did I hear you mention in the live stream? So he watches, obviously, about how you make your own food And I said, I did.
I did. You know what no, Steve, we was talking about earlier on, and we said that your fish get better food than you, because I bet you don't sit down for a seafood platter every so often. But that's what you're doing for your fish.
You know what they actually do, you know. And the last batch that I had, seriously, yeah. I said to the guy, you know what? I filmed it, yeah. And when I looked at it and I tried to edit it, it looked crap, yeah. And I thought, I'm not putting that out. I thought, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? It looked like something like a 10-year-old had filmed. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm not doing that. So I never put it out. Yeah, I never put it out. But obviously, I think I made 3 batches at that time because I got a bit. So I still had some. And I thought, I'm not going to just buy some more food and then make it up. I'll wait until I run out and then I'll film it again. But my daughter's got a stand and all that, you know, like a camera stand. She's got the light. She's got the light and all that, everything, the old shebang, my daughter. So I was like, right, well, this time I'm going to do it proper. I'm going to do a proper one. So I will film it. But like I said last time, I put salmon in mine and everything, mate. I put like bits of salmon in it, chopped up, blended. I was like, what the hell? They're getting better fed than me, these fish. For sure, but you know what?
They wild though, would they?
Pardon?
Since when's a chromus going to eat a salmon?
They'll eat anything, mate. Anything. What, you know what? Hey, hold on. Did he eat a dead body? If you threw a dead body in there, wouldn't
they? Can eat a salmon, to be fair.
That's what. In fact, yeah, I think mine would tackle a full one if I threw it in. It'd have a good go anyway.
Need making fish food with Moggs' aquarium, definitely.
Video. Yeah. I am gonna. You've got, honest to God, mate. I am gonna do one. I'm gonna do a good one so people can. Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
He's like the mad chef out the Muppet Show.
Yeah. I'm my naked apron. I'll put that
on. Oh, God. Right, okay, that's too much information. Right, I'm going to go to the chat.
Hey.
Right, so anyway, sorry, John, where are you going to get your fish food from? Or your frozen?
Order it online.
Yeah, because you can buy frozen online, can't you?
I've bought it online before, yeah. It comes in, it comes with like, well, mine came with a cold pack and it came in like styrofoam box.
Yeah. Maybe that's an option, John. Buy
next day delivery.
Yeah, so that's an option.
Yeah.
I think I know Charterhouse definitely sell frozen food. I imagine some of the others do as well and sell it.
I think mine was Kraken, but I think it was Kraken, mine.
Yeah. So we was talking earlier on, Steve, about feeding fish, and we don't really talk about it much. Nick's just saying about he's working on a project surrounding fish feeding and the nutritional requirements. So Nick, be interesting to see the output of that. Be good.
That would be interesting for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Like you said, really, I mean, in theory, it is something like you said, we don't really talk about it, and really, fish do need to eat like pretty well, you know, they do need to eat well done. I know we talk about like, oh, well, they eat what they eat in the wild and stuff, and they don't get salmon and all that in the wild, for sure, you know what I mean? But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they're not daft fish. I don't think they're daft, and I think, you know, like I said, some of my fish won't eat like certain pellets. But some of them will. So if they was that hungry, they'd eat it, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? But it just goes to show, like, really, they have their own diet. They prefer their own diet. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like I make mine, and it's expensive when I look at it. You know, when I total it up, it is expensive. It's more than the blister packs. But like I've said before, I don't know what water's going in those blister packs. It could be tap water. I don't have a clue, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah, it could be sewage water. I don't have a clue, mate, what it is. Whereas mine, I know, like, once I blend all mine up, I put RO water in out of my RO, the water container. I mix it up with a bit of reef roids. A few little pellets in there, some seaweed in some others, some part of it. Chop it all up, blend it up, and it's like a nutritious meal for them. You know what I mean? But you don't need that much because it will raise your nutrients quite high. You know what I mean? But I will do a video on it. You've got my word. I will do one.
Okay, look forward to that one. So the seawater has all types of metals and no phosphates, but in a glass box, we need to dose most stuff. Alk is the key. Yeah, totally agree with that. Reef boy, have you tried Epping Reef? So that would be closest to me. No, I haven't.
Reef.
And then there's about there've been some people talking about copepods. So if you can cultivate your own, definitely helps and saves money. So agree with that one. fish only need feeding 4 times a week? I think it depends on. I get where you're coming from, and they can skip a couple of days. I think some fish, certainly if you're looking at amphias, there's one amphia which begins with a V, and I can't remember the name of it. Needs feedings, and a lot of people when they get amphias and they put them in their
very
tank,
hungry amphias.
Needs feeding small feeds 6, 7, 8 times a day. But over time, you can wean them down to. So the amphias, when I've had amphias before, I've started them off on 3, 4, 5 feeds a day, and then I've got them down to 1 feed a day. But again, that's my convenience, isn't it? I'm feeding them once a day, yet they're used to having small foods, small pellets, 4 or 5 times a day, and on the reef they feed all day long. Yeah. So it's probably me. Oh, a new fish. I hadn't seen this one. Flaming prawn goby. I don't think that was on my list, so I'll have a look at that one. This is carrying on from last week, Steve. When I was talking about small fish. When I was running solo for the first 20 minutes.
I think you need to upgrade your tank to another 4 foot.
Well, based on the fish here, I'd probably need 1,000 litre. Imagine 1,000 litre with all these small fish in. The thing is, a lot of them you wouldn't even see, would you? Like a watchman goby, you'd get lost.
That is a pretty cool fish, that is actually.
I'll have a look at that one. Reef phytopods are like 60 odd quid a litre. Jay, didn't you buy reef phytopods?
Yeah, they were good. They weren't cheap.
Yeah.
So with it being Black Friday, I might be having another look. So I need some Black Friday deals.
Yeah, it says 25% off by the looks of it.
Yeah, they were good in the sense that there's quite a lot in the bag, and they moved around a lot. They were active. And then I put them in, the fish started chewing on them all, and I was a bit gutted. Because I spent, I think it was about 15 quid, and they were just like chewing through them all. I was hoping that some of them would survive. But yeah, it's a great company and great products. But with the Black Friday sale, it might be worth having a look. I know Red Sea have got a Black Friday sale as well, haven't they? Is it like 10% off everything?
Yeah, there's quite a few LFS have got different things. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think I've seen this summer about 10% off livestock, 15% off livestock, different shops.
Yeah,
I think AAC.
A lot of SPS sales, isn't there, I think?
Yeah. AAC have got, if you buy 4 of their SPS frags from their farm, you get 50% off.
Yeah, that was really good. I saw that.
Yeah.
Where's the buy one gone and get one free? That's what I remember.
Probably not many going to get that. It's wishful thinking.
Don't think you're going to get that.
That's not a deal I'm looking at for Black Friday.
A few more comments here about Zoas. You got Rastas are probably my favourite.
They are a lovely Zoa.
Reef boys going to AAC, so definitely they've got loads of Zoas down there from when I see last time.
Like weeds.
Lots of chaos can take over. Absolutely, I've seen that. A bit like your Rastas have taken over your rock.
I think you do tend to get one that does try and dominate, don't you?
Yeah, yes, for sure.
I don't know how Ian, is it Ian's Reef on Instagram?
Yeah, he's got some stunning Zoas, isn't he? Where they're all grouped together.
He's the man to talk to about Zoas because he's got a great colour contrast. And like the proportions of each patch is about the same.
I was just about to say, you don't see one taking over. So whether he's chosen that they're slow growers or ones not invasive, or whether he frags them just to stop that happening, I don't know. I might ask him actually. You're right, because it's quite a mature tank. They all look a kind of a size of a golf ball, just a little bit bigger, don't they? They're not of them out of proportion compared to everything else he's got in the tank, which is either he's picked the right ones or he does do some fragging.
I'm just like, how does he do that? We could get him. What could do with him on here one day, an interview. I'd love to know.
Yeah, would be good. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That would be good.
The only Zoas thriving in mine are those tree Zoas. The rest don't grow. They just melt.
I've had a few melt. Well, the ones that I melted was the ones in that little bloody Pico tank. They hate that.
Yeah.
There's a comment there about your giant chromis.
Yeah. I know it. You know what? Everybody, honest to God, like the guy who bought my torch off me, that Holy Grail, he was like, the first thing he said was not like, oh yeah, it's a lovely Holy Grail, like, beautiful. He went, look at the size of them chromas, and I was like, everybody says that, mate. I was like, yeah.
When you dose in uranium into it, that's what happens when you.
Well, when we haven't done a water change for a decade. That's what happens.
What happens when it swims in its own shit for a year?
Hey, you want to try it with your coral then, your fish.
It's not called spotless water; it's called sewage water.
Sewage water. Steve, you're the person who classes a water change as an auto top up.
I told you my water. I told you my water changing schedule, mate. It's perfect.
It's relentless.
You know how it is.
It's
relentless, and it is relentless. And you know what? When I can bloody get one of these dosing pumps, ready for this cow cluster to go on it, then we're going to get even more of a water change, aren't we?
Hey, Jay, did you notice in the last video that he had a chromis with 3 eyes? I don't know if you noticed. I didn't really want to comment because there might be complaints, but it's a 3-eyed chromis.
When I saw one benching his torches, that's what I thought.
I think it was at 4 minutes and 15 seconds in the last video.
Yeah.
With 3-eyed chromis.
It was definitely.
I mean, how long do chromis live? Actually, like, I don't think they live that long. You know what I mean?
Well,
I think mine's going to outlive me, mate. At this rate, you know what I mean? I think it'll outlive me. I didn't think they live that long. To be fair,
I think you should put them in your will. I think you should definitely put them in your will.
I have to put them in the will, yeah.
What I was going to say is, usually a lot of them batter one another, so you end up with one chromis. But how many have you got?
I originally started with 6, though. Yeah, to be fair, six tiny ones. When I say tiny, they were like tiny. You couldn't even see them. Yeah. And then obviously they fought themselves, and like 3 of them. I've still got 3 of them, and each one of them are all the same size. So yeah, they've all competed for the food, and they're all the same size now. So, but yeah, I do like them chromis though. To be fair, I don't know. They're just part of the tank now. You know what I mean? They are. You know what I mean? They are good fish. To be fair,
were they the original fish you put in there? The first one?
Yeah. Some of the very first ones, mate. Yeah, very first one. In fact, I had them. I added the clownfish. Yeah. Then I added when I had my 170, I added the clownfish. Then I added a goby, a little tiny yellow goby it was. Yeah. And then I added the chromis, which were literally, they were like tiny tadpoles. They were tiny things. Yeah. And I added them because I got 6 of them. I had to get them all small, really small. You know what I mean? And the guy even turned around and says, "Yeah, they don't live long, these, though, to be fair, mate." Because I told him, I said, "I've only got a 170," and he went, "Oh yeah." He went, they do fight to the death, some of these. So if some of them go missing, it's just like this fitting. So I'm like a newbie, into the hobby. I'm like, "What do you mean fight to the death?" And he went, "Oh yeah, it's just like a kill or be killed sort of thing." So I was like, but he went, "That's part of life. It's just how they establish the territory." So I was like, "Right, okay, then fair enough." And then lo and behold, I thought they're not going to survive forever. You know what I mean? These things, they're going to die. And well, what are we in? 4.5 years into the my hobby, and they're still going.
They're still there.
So they're still there, mate. So just goes to show.
I like your ambition that you've got a school in fish, 6 of them for a 170.
Yeah, exactly, mate. It was bang on. I was like, yeah, I'm having that. I was newbie to the thing. I thought I'm having, but when I say they were tiny, Jay, my clownfish, which were small, they were actually bigger than the chromis. That's how big they were, mate. They were tiny, and I was like, oh yeah, these things are not going to last long in here. And then lo and behold, 3 of them did die, and they died pretty quick, to be fair. But then by that time, remember, I only had my 170 for what? 6.5 months or something, 7 months, and then I bought the 350. So then they went into this, you know what I mean? So it was like, really, it was a blessing for them, really, in theory, because then they moved into a bigger tank. So it was like, and they love it, part of the tank, part of the ecosystem. They do the thing, and
they grow to the surroundings, I guess, don't they?
Well, some people say that, like koi fish, Koi fish, you put them in a pond, and they'll grow to the size of like the pond in a sense that they won't grow. In a sense that they won't grow bigger than what they think. Whereas if you put them in a huge one, then the pond, they'll grow like
fins outside the water.
I think it's time for an upgrade.
Like, come on, top it up.
Oh God, what is like you?
That thing about fish growing to the size of the tank.
Yeah.
If you look at that guy, Polo Reef, look at the size of the fish he's got.
I know, yeah.
And the guy who's got the 20,000 gallons.
I haven't seen this.
You haven't seen the
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Andrew Sander.
All right. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I've seen that.
Yeah. So the size of the fish he's got in his tank.
Yeah.
And people say they have not seen those kind of that kind of specimen fish that size in captivity.
Yeah.
So there must be some truth in it in terms of growing to obviously they grow to a certain size, but in that kind of tank, they're huge.
Yeah.
And some of them are not. They're fish that people keep in a lot smaller tanks. But there we go. Frozen fish. So it's frozen fish. Frozen foods.
It might have been Stella actually that got my
Stella Marine. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I got my cleanup crew from there. They post out cleanup crew, which is a really good thing as well.
Yeah. There's another comment about you're not going to live that one down, Jay.
John, I thought I'd forgotten about that. Was about a year ago now. Remember, I got back from the LFS and I'm like,
nice one, John. Nice one, John. Yeah, he slags me off about my water all the time, mate. Nice one, pal. Keep reminding him.
I'm like, lads, I've got loads of great live foods here, so I start putting them in. I was like, I'll put the Daphne in, and I don't know where the hell they've gone. They may have picked off the algae. I don't know. They've cleared off anyway. I think the fish have eaten them.
Yeah. Right, we're nearly at the end of the comments. So, hi, Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hi, Laura. Evening.
Steve's put his shirt and tie on for him.
And Nick's even put a hat on.
Professional one. I thought you'd been coral shopping. That's how I go coral shopping normally.
Yeah, I'm going to see Christine in a bit.
Always dress up for coral shopping. Always.
I know you do. It's quite funny.
Yeah. Need to make the effort.
It's by appointment only, so it sounds a bit posh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's very prestigious.
Yeah.
It's an experience. That's what I go for.
Mm.
It's always good to be ready.
Do either you going to buy anything this weekend, or
it's
Friday? Try and get some discounts.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm working at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh no.
Yeah, 8 till 6 tomorrow, and then I'm in Sunday as well. So yeah, I won't be doing anything. But I'm off next weekend. You see, so
yeah.
It's like that's the way it falls. You know, my shifts and stuff. So, but yeah, so like I won't be doing much this weekend. But next weekend, I am trying to look for one of those pumps. But I should have got it the other day. I thought to myself, I seen them, and they had two in Kraken Corals, those D&D pumps, 2 of them, and I was like, you know what, I'm on a late shift, so I thought I'll go up there. This was like the following day, and then something happened. Oh, I'll tell you what happened. Then I was due a delivery, so I thought, oh great, well I can't go today because I've got a delivery coming. I've got to be in the house, So I left it. The following day, I phoned the shop. I said, have you got any of those? You still got those pumps in? Because my mate works there now, I said, have you still got those pumps, Steve? And he turned around and said, oh, no, they both sold out. And that was the day, the day after I released my video saying I was going to buy one. You know what I mean? So I'm like, how weird is that? They both sold out. He said they both went in the same day.
I reckon your videos triggered some sales. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Mate, I think so. So now I said to Steve, when are you looking at getting them? And he went, about 3 weeks now. 3 weeks, the next one's in.
Right,
so I was like, gutted, mate. So I tried looking on AAC. They said they had one in stock, but I don't know. I was going to message the actual shop, to see if they have got one in. But it's me being in the house, mate. You know what I mean? I've got to be in the house to collect the delivery, and it's just my shifts in it. You know what I mean? So, but That's my next
the
plan
thing
is
though,
that.
Steve, if they have got one, you can pay for it and then say, right, can you send it out? And if you know your shift, say, can you send it out on so-and-so day, even if
Yeah,
it's 3,
I
4,
could do
5
that.
days. Most shops will say, yeah, fair enough. They wouldn't always have to send it out next day. Obviously, they want to, but if you paid for it and just say, I'm not around until
Yeah.
so-and-so day, I'm sure
Yeah.
whether it be Kraken or whether it be AAC or whatever, I can't believe they wouldn't do it, Steve.
Yeah. No, I'll message him. I'll direct message him because like I said, I message him on Instagram sometimes. So I'll see if they've got one in, and then if they have, then I'll just, like I said, I'll just pay for it, and then hopefully at least it's coming. You know what I mean when I'm in. But that's been it. And then for the new year, I'm going to start on it. I'm going to go and see UK Reef. I'm going to see him.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to what do you call it? Just to see it's set up and like how it's run and. Yeah. I just want to make sure to clarify it in my head. I don't know whether I'm going to go 24 hours with it or whether I'm going to go through the night with it. You know what I mean? That's when the pH drops. So I'm unsure as to what to do with it yet. Like I know how it works. I know the whole procedure of how it works, but I don't know in my mind which way I'm going to go. Whether I'm going to go 24 hours or whether I'm going to go 12 hours on and then supplement the other 12 hours with the aquaforest for the time being. Do you know what I mean? Because like you said, Paul, changing both over at the same time or in short or in between a short time frame, that could produce major problems. And a lot of people have said that, which I never really thought about. But
I think
in hindsight,
the thing is, Steve, how would you dial it in? How much calc would you know you need to put in? With aquaforest, you know how much you're dosing. If you go after reef elements, you don't know what you've got to dose on that. So you're not only changing your dosing method, you're changing your brand of dosing as well. And personally, I wouldn't know where to start. And it's, trying to get that spot on, I think it's going to be really difficult and you don't need to. Whereas with the calc, you could say, right, I'm going to dose it for an hour straight away, see what that does. Yeah. And then you could, and then you could increase your calc dosing, do an hour one day and an hour and 15 minutes or whatever it is. I'm just making this up, right? And the reason why I would do that, because then you're gradually increasing your dosing. And then as you're checking your out through your KH keeper, you then bring your dosing down on the other one.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the only thing is, if you run, if you run your calcs through the night, do you know then how much you then need to reduce of your aquaforest during the day? It's quite a difficult one. So you can start it off, even if it's like 15 minutes worth of dosing.
But what
15 minutes different each day, you then start bringing it up and the other one down, didn't you?
Yeah, well, what I thought was doing was to be basically like basically to stop the dosage straight away, for like 12 hours or so, and then just to see how much it drops by, through the evening, like at night time, and then basically, like UK Reef said, why just start off with dose it? Once you know your evaporation, how much evaporates in a day, So say for argument's sake, 2 liters evaporates, I in my tank a day, for argument's sake, Then dose 1 liter of the calc, for the day, and then see if there's any increase in it. Do it for like a couple of days and see whether there's any, because like he said, it's going to take a bit of time for it to get dialed in. Do you know what I mean? And then see if there's any like raise or drop or whatever. And then if that's not enough, raise it up slightly, a little bit more, like you do with your dosing. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So you just start it off small. Because let's face it. You start it off small. In a month's time, you would have sorted it out. And in a month, in the scheme of things, is no time whatsoever, is it? It's not going to make any difference. So just in the comments, you've got a couple of comments here about saying Charterhouse have got continuous dosing pumps in stock, and Tekker's Reef has also said Charterhouse in stock. So whether that's the DD one or whether
I'm sure that's the thing you want in it. I don't think that's the DD one. I think that's the that's the Kamoa one in it. I think. The Kamoa stepper one.
But you're looking for the DD one. Is that because it's a smaller pump?
Yeah, because it's smaller.
Right.
Yeah. Now, to be truthful, because all I need is a stepper pump, something that doses between 1 mil, 1 mil a minute, and like I said, 200 mil a minute, whatever. It doesn't really, because I'm going to be dosing, like I said, at 1 mil a minute. Say I dose 1 mil a minute. For argument's sake, that's 60 mils. In an hour, So times that over the 12 hours, which I'm thinking, that's only going to be 720 mil. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means it's going to be less than a litre. You know, that's over a 12-hour period. So for me, I need it to be a low dosage, so I can get it dialed in before I raise it up. Then, you know what I mean? Plus, I don't want my salinity to drop either. So that's another thing, because the more you water, the more you dose the solution you're putting into the tank, you're dropping your salinity. You know what I mean? So
what would happen in that situation? Your RO would top up less. So therefore, you're not in that situation. And I'm assuming the calc gets mixed with RO and not salt water.
Yeah.
Is it RO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're right. Yeah, you're right. You won't be using as much RO water, because you're killing two birds with one stone, won't you? Because you'll be dosing your calc solution, but you'll also be dosing RO water, won't you, at the same time? You know what I mean? Because it's going to be dropping, it's going to be going into the tank. You know what I mean? So, in a way, it will work out, but it can go one of two ways. It might be like I know for sure Calquasser won't be enough. It won't be enough to sustain my tank. It's impossible. You know what I mean? Because of the amount of coral that's in it. Yeah. So that means I need to supplement my tank with, like you said, the aquaforest or the reef elements or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But UK Reefer, he's the man. He's the guy who he knows. I've been speaking to him a lot, actually, to be fair, and he's been a massive help to me. So nice one, mate. I really appreciate it. But yeah, he knows his stuff with it, and like he said, he's never looked back. You know what I mean? Once he's gone onto it, it's thing. But like he's just adding there, don't add any more than your evaporation, and let your
salinity down, won't you? You bring your salinity down otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, though, you probably could dose enough calc to make up for the elements, but the problem is you'd be dosing too much RO. That's the issue you've got, haven't you?
Yeah, that's the issue.
And I don't know if you could increase your concentration. I don't know if you can, by the way, because I haven't used calc. But if you could increase your concentration, then that's one way of doing it. But I don't know if you can. Absolutely. If you can't, then it doesn't work.
Well, that's it. That's it in a way. Like you said, I mean, it is a tricky one, you know. Well, it's not a tricky one. It's straightforward, but like Laura said, 3 birds with one stone. Yeah, because you are dosing calcium as well at the same time. So yeah, you're right, Laura, 100%. But it's like, for me, it's more like UK Reefer said to me when we spoke. Yeah, he was like saying like it was a godsend for him, because obviously he was losing some coral. You know what I mean? So really, he was like, well, it's I've got to do it. Let me try it. You know what I mean? And he did it, and it's worked a treat for him. Now, like you said, his tank looks fantastic, and his corals are doing great growth and stuff like that. And it's stable. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like for me, I've always said, because mine's stocked already, it's quite stocked. None of them are dying, touch wood. You know what I mean? Yeah. And everything's healthy. I don't want to shock the system too much. So that's why, like, my thought process is to go very, very slow first. Yeah. Nice, easy first, and then as I get more confident with it, because like I said, I don't want to like mess up, because it can kill it. Obviously, it can just eradicate.
If you overdose,
if you overdose, so I don't want to do that. So I just need to be here. I need to be here, and I need to be like, have a few days off, like 3 or 4 days off, just to be here, rather than be here, go to work, and then the pump stays on or something, and then you know what I mean. So I need to be here to do it. So yeah. It's been a big help, so hopefully we'll sort that out.
And also, because it's going up and up, it's going to save the amount you dose, and also save you a fortune as well.
Like you said, yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's like the biggest gain, isn't it?
I mean, the only thing is like magnesium in it. You know what I mean? How would you get magnesium into it? Because if it's dosing calcium and alkalinity, you'd have to put a magnesium supplement onto it, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
I would say yes, you would. You would have to, and also you might have to do minor trace elements as well. Because if they're
you'd have to add trace
taking
elements,
so much of your elements out, then you're probably going to have your smaller elements that you need topping up as well. So you'd need to do something with that, as you do today. You might have to keep the aquaforest on the minor elements and just drop your alkalinity, drop your calcium, but stay on with your magnesium.
Magnesium, yeah, that's probably. Excuse me, that's probably what I'd have to do.
Right,
keep on it.
We are out of time. It is 10 o'clock. So,
good evening, gents. Enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been brilliant. So, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. I know there's been other draws of football and stuff like that, so I appreciate all
I
those
know,
people
yeah.
that join. Thanks, Steve, for rushing home from the buses.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
and
It's always a
joining us.
pleasure. Always a pleasure to see you and get slagged off by Jay. Really appreciate it.
Mate, I haven't slagged you off once.
Slagging my sewage tank off. I really appreciate it.
The big Greenpeace will be out. On that note, have a great Black Friday weekend or whatever you're buying.
Enjoy your weekend.
And see you next week.
Take care. See you soon,
take
guys.
care, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Take care.